Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Before starting the video, this video I created for our top supporter Grasshopper. Our top supporter Grasshopper continues support our channel through donating. Grasshopper, thank you for $25. This video is for you. In the comment section all members comment Grasshopper OP. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 317 based on novel. So let's start. The seed cluster containing Mosha body still hadn't reached the periphery of where world trees lived, even after more than 5 months of floating. At the center was the most powerful world tree, and the other 8 trees surrounded it. The 9 world trees occupied about a quarter of the island. The other trees, which were at the Undying level and Universe Night level, all avoided the world trees. The 9 jade-like world trees were glowing. Each had a halo surrounding it, and none of the floating seeds could penetrate those halos. The seed cluster containing Mosha body landed silently. A Sector Lord level world tree with a thick trunk was tens of millions of miles away. I'm now at the closest spot to the world trees, and the closest one is a Sector Lord level world tree, thought Mosha body. Unbelievable. There are no fallen leaves. Mosha body was raging and roaring inside. If there had been some fallen leaves at the Sector Lord level world tree, he could have simply stolen a fallen leaf quickly and fled. And with his current teleportation proficiency, even Universe Knights would be able to find out where he had gone. There's no other way but to take a leaf by force. Mosha body immediately made a decision. The hair on its seed cluster sensed the luxuriant leaves above. Although it was still tens of million miles away from the trunk. The leaves were like exquisitely carved jades, and each of them was sparkling. Leaves fall only if they wither, thought Mosha body. But there's so much energy in these leaves, how could they ever wither? The hair on the seed cluster swayed with eagerness. On Rock Island, in the distance, Luo Feng's original body was looking forward to it. Please, he urged. You must succeed. With that leaf, I'll have my third body. That seed cluster rolled over the ground under the wind. Even when it occasionally touched the halo and bounced back, it would be blown toward the world tree again. By all appearances, it rolled on the ground randomly. The seemingly ordinary seed cluster suddenly vanished, and a blurry figure appeared beside an arm-sized branch at the edge of the crown of the Sector Lord world tree. Mosha body grabbed a leaf the moment it appeared and tried to tear it down. He was mighty, 100 times stronger than a Sector Lord, but under the force of his pull, the thick twig of the Sector Lord world tree only bent. The entire canopy trembled. Damn other races, a shrill, angry voice said from the leaves. I didn't get it? Mosha body was dazed. Suddenly, all the surrounding leaves that had been swaying in the wind converged on Mosha body and entwined it. Mosha body was dismantled like a crushed egg, including his life core. Mosha body was dead. So weak, the world tree scoffed. Is this what passes for an undying fighter? How could he just die like that? The Sector Lord world tree was perplexed. Other heirs had tried to steal its twigs before, as a twig of a world tree could grow into a fully formed tree and stabilize a god country. However, it was only a Sector Lord world tree, so a single leaf couldn't help much. Usually, one needed a whole branch. And every world tree would strive to protect itself in the face of a threat. On Rock Island. So powerful. Luo Feng was stupefied. Mosha body died before a fight could even begin. Based on what just happened, there's no way it's a Sector Lord. I'm sure it's at the Emperor level. Luo Feng was certain. All the twigs and leaves had instantly come down on Mosha body when he failed to break the leaf, and his body had been crushed instantly. Then again, maybe the genes of a Sector Lord world tree are 1,000 times stronger than those of humans, said Luo Feng. Besides, it's instructed by that Universe Master level world tree, so it must know amplification. That makes it dozens of times stronger. Altogether, that's tens of thousands of times stronger than a Sector Lord, added to some natural skills for attack. Luo Feng nodded. It was an Emperor level 1. It was not surprising that Mosha body had been killed instantly. The other world trees didn't even react when Mosha body died. Luo Feng smiled. Exactly as I expected. This kind of threat is nothing to the other world trees, especially the most powerful one, who might only strike if the lives of the Sector Lord world trees were in danger. I should learn from my mistakes. Luo Feng began planning his next move. After a long while, a blurry, golden light glowed in the cave. A figure appeared in the light. It was Mosha body. That just cost me some energy, said Luo Feng. Moshe Body extended his hands to Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned his hands around, and a forceful flame god crystal started to dim on his palm. Moshe Body took the crystal and teleported himself. I don't believe I'll fail again, said Luo Feng, hostility flashing in his eyes. The flame god crystal is not very powerful, but it's enough to kill an official level undying fighter, like a strike from a pinnacle emperor. That world tree is only a sector level, and it can't burn its body. It won't be able to defend itself against that. And besides, it's so large. Only a few 100,000 square miles will be injured. It's not a serious enough threat for most powerful world tree to interfere. Luo Feng nodded. After all, if his own student were under a threat that was not overly serious, he wouldn't intervene. I only need to bomb it once, he said. Leaves and twigs will fly around after that. I'll teleport myself and flee after getting a leaf. Luo Feng was looking forward to the result. He sensed Moshe Body's location. He's arrived. He can definitely succeed this time. Moshe Body first teleported himself above the ocean to a point distant from Tree Island. It wasn't that far, and I can still accurately sense that position. Moshe Body looked afar, and aggression flashed upon his eyes. Begin. Moshe Body teleported and appeared under the crown of the same sector Lord World Tree. Explode. Moshe Body threw the flame god crystal and teleported himself at the same time. It had disappeared. Boom. The flame god crystal exploded under the crown of the sector Lord World Tree with a force that could kill an official level undying fighter and rival a strike from a pinnacle emperor. Immediately, 30,000 square feet around the crystal disintegrated into nothing. The surrounding 1 million square feet was blasted to ruins, and farther away from the crystal lay some twigs and leaves. Still, it was nothing to a sector Lord World Tree with a diameter of over 60 million miles. Besides, the explosion took place tens of millions of miles away from the trunk. The energy ripple couldn't even shake the trunk. Return, said the World Tree. The emerald leaves that had been scattered by the explosion flew back to the crown, automatically merging with the original body, quickly recovering with the help of the tree's energies. As it was recovering, a figure appeared. Moshe Body flew toward the twigs and leaves that were in the process of returning to the tree. He grabbed a broken twig with several leaves on it. Each of the leaves was broken. Got it. Go. Moshe Body teleported and tried to get away. Destructive energy met Moshe Body as soon as he grabbed the twig. Moshe Body trembled and was paralyzed. A strong wind pressed down on it and it turned to dust and vanished into thin air. Damn other races. Damn other races. The entire crown of the sector lord level world tree was trembling. It roared, Father, Father. Let me kill him. How unfortunate you are, 7, said another world tree. You've lost so many leaves. Ha ha, laughed another. 7, if it weren't for our father, that thing would get away with it. The other world trees all began laughing in different sounds, some hoarse and some clear, all mocking. Shut up, all of you, yelled the world tree that had been bombed, shaking its branches. Little 7, that creature of another race is indeed very good at fleeing, a soft and gentle voice echoed through the domain of the world trees. It can teleport without even causing a space ripple. If he gets away, it'll be almost impossible to find him. I just punished him for wronging you. Isn't that nice? No, it's not. It's not. The twigs and leaves on the sector Lord World Tree were shaking crazily. Then make an effort to become an undying fighter like your brothers, the gentle voice continued. Then you won't need to be scared of the other races. The sector Lord World Tree fully recovered from its injury after a short conversation, and all the leaves and twigs grew back. There was not a single leaf on the ground. It seemed entirely unharmed. As the 9 world trees spoke, all the other life forms on Tree Island went silent. Inside a remote, quiet cave on Rock Island, shock filled Luo Feng's eyes. It must be the most powerful world tree, he said. Luo Feng could completely empathize with the terrible attack Moshe Body had suffered and the desperation he felt. It was like an almighty being killing an ant, and Moshe Body was the ant. It had to be the most powerful world tree. Only it was capable of doing this. He attacked me, said Luo Feng. Although he is only a universe knight, he has the power of a universe master with its identity as a special organism. Plus, there's his colossal size. He attacked Moshe Body. Luo Feng found it difficult to believe. His original plan was for Moshe Body to show up instantly, grab a leaf, and teleport himself to escape. The time that elapsed was only a blink of an eye. Even undying world trees shouldn't have been able to stop him. All I took was a twig and a leaf, and that explosion only caused a minor injury to that world tree. Was it really necessary to kill me? And for the world tree to intervene personally? Luo Feng was full of grievances. He had finally, almost, had the twig and the leaf that would make it possible for him to breed his third body, after which he could have his breakthrough and immediately become an undying fighter. However, he seemed to have run into a major obstacle. I never expected the most powerful world tree to meddle. My Moshe Body has already been killed twice. That world tree must be alert, now. What should I do? Luo Feng was anxious. He started to contemplate this problem, and the more he thought about it, the angrier he got. Why didn't you just let me have that twig and leaf, he muttered. That world tree has a crown 60 million miles wide. A single leaf is nothing to it. Do you really think it's worth it? Luo Feng was mainly worried about the most powerful world tree now, a creature that could rival a universe master. It had the talent technique of manipulation of space and time, and with the most powerful world tree's strength, it could control sky and land just as well as a real universe master. It must have also excelled at time pause, and perhaps it could even reverse time. As long as the most powerful world tree was in his way, Moshe Body didn't stand a chance of breaking free. Not if time was completely stopped. What should I do, wondered Luo Feng. Little did Luo Feng know, the most powerful world tree was a father, and the other 8 world trees surrounding it were its sons. Like any ordinary tree planted in the soil, as time passed, saplings would naturally begin growing around it. The most powerful world tree, as a special organism, allowed some saplings to grow around it. A single twig could grow into a powerful life tree. As the most powerful world tree, with endless life force, it had a mighty life origin. It grew 8 saplings around it because it felt lonely, and it gave a portion of its essence from its life origin to the 8 saplings, a bit like the space heart giving its essence to Moshe Body. The most powerful world tree would rather give up some of its potential to nurture its 8 saplings. It was like a father taking care of and cultivating its 8 children. And since, like most trees, world trees innately didn't like to move, they had spent an eternity together. It was far more caring for its 8 children than fathers of other races in the universe. In this way, it was understandable that it was so protective of its children. In the cave of Rock Island. Several plans that had entered Luo Feng's mind had a chance to succeed, but none offered guaranteed success. Moshe Body has been successfully bred, he said, sensing, in the primal secret region of the human territory far away, his internal world had successfully bred Moshe Body. After only a few seconds, a blurry golden light flashed from God Country Transportation. It spent only a few seconds traveling from the human territory to the ancestral God secret region. Moshe Body stepped out and landed in the cave. Go? Moshe Body teleported himself and disappeared again. He showed up in the sky of 9 Remoteness Ocean and could see Tree Island in the distance. I'll choose the most conservative approach, with the highest chance to succeed. Moshe Body disappeared again. Among the seeds floating on Tree Island, another seed had joined in silence. The seed cluster slowly floated toward the world trees. I'll spend another 5 months getting there, and I'll land beside world trees again, Moshe Body murmured. Then I'll let a Pinnacle Emperor slave throw a flame origin crystal and grab a twig and leaf. The Pinnacle Emperor might be killed in the end. However, those world trees will regard my Pinnacle Emperor slave as the head. After the fight, there'll be twigs and leaves flying everywhere, and lots of them will be outside the halo. That's when my seed cluster will land on one of the leaves. Then I'll teleport myself with a leaf. Ha! Even the most powerful world tree with the power of a universe master can't do anything because it can't identify the special seed cluster. This was the new plan. Using a Pinnacle Emperor slave as a distraction to blast away a great number of twigs and leaves. Time passed, and the seed cluster containing Moshe Body floated along with the wind. To the superior, most powerful world tree, what had just happened was nothing but a brief interlude. After all, many heirs adventured in 9 Remoteness space, and Moshe Body trying to snatch a twig was hardly a threat. And many heirs had the power to kill his Sector Lord offspring. The most powerful world tree's only priority was to protect its children's trunks. As long as the trunks were safe, twigs and leaves could be quickly recovered. I'll just go with the wind, and I'll arrive there in a month or so. The seed cluster floated with the wind, hiding among other floating seeds on the beautiful Tree Island. In the area outside 9 remoteness space, 7 great beings from different races and suddenly showed up. One was crawling, with a godly body of 6 miles. It was the largest. The smallest one was less than 2 feet tall, including its wings. It's 9 remoteness space, said the first. We've arrived, said the small one. All 7 great beings from other races looked at 9 remoteness space, all filled with great expectations. So fast. It only took us the time of a meal to arrive here. And it's all thanks to Here Crow Knight's teleportation. Each time, he can teleport hundreds of or even thousands of light years farther, and we jumped over countless dangerous areas. Without Here Crow Knight, it would have taken a much longer time to arrive at 9 remoteness space, and we may have run into danger. Yes, it was all thanks to Here Crow Knight. Suddenly, a piercing voice rang out, yes, we all need to thank Here Crow Knight. The other great beings went quiet upon hearing the voice. The great being who had spoken was covered in scales full of engravings. He stood there, slightly arching his back. His hands and feet were hooked claws. His hair and eyes were golden, and his voice was enough to shut the other great beings up. Am I correct, Here Crow Knight? The great being asked, looking at Here Crow Knight. Here Crow Knight was 20 feet tall with 6 pairs of black feathered wings. There was a blood-red light dimming on his body, his mouth was like a blade, and his eyes were crimson. He was the same Here Crow Knight of the 100 million heirs on Bohinia Island. Here Crow Knight grinned. I can only help on our way here. Now, we depend on you, Bark Mirror Emperor. 9 remoteness space is filled with dangerous places, said the largest one. We'll have a higher chance of surviving with you by our side, Bark Mirror Emperor. Yes, said the tiny one. We've been stuck in an eternal loop. Lots of heirs wanted to go with you when they knew you were coming to 9 remoteness space. If we're lucky enough to discover some valuables, you and Here Crow Knight should select first. Depending on our contributions, Bark Mirror Emperor should pick first, another spoke up. Of the 7 great beings, one was a Universe Knight and the other 6 were Undying heirs. Here Crow Knight was the Universe Knight, and Bark Mirror Emperor was one of the Undying heirs. Ha ha. Relax, Bark Mirror Emperor laughed. It shall be determined by our contributions respectively. I won't take what should belong to you. Here Crow Knight laughed, too, as did the other 5 great beings. Bark Mirror Emperor is famous for his insanity, ruthlessness, and greed, Here Crow Knight thought. If it weren't for his incredible inspection skill, I wouldn't have brought him here. As for the other 5 Undying heirs, how can I let true treasures fall into their hands? But I do need to be careful of this Bark Mirror Emperor. I don't want to become a stepping stone beneath his foot. Here Crow Knight dreaded Bark Mirror Emperor. Bark Mirror Emperor was ranked in the top 10 among all the Undying heirs. Since the beginning of the universe, there had been heirs arriving and being eliminated on Bohinia Island. As time went by, the vast majority of them were at the normal level, whereas those ranked in the top 10 were the best of the best. Zhuchong Emperor, as a special organism, was only ranked 3rd. Bark Mirror Emperor was also a special organism, with its life level 2,000 times more powerful than ordinary life forms. Plus, he had 2 distinctive talent techniques. He had been admitted to one of the superpowers in the universe, the Northern Territory Alliance, and had been given a true treasure and a treasure. He was relatively weaker than Zhuchong Emperor, but he was powerful enough to fight many Universe Knights. Let's go into 9 remoteness space, Bark Mirror Emperor said. Let's go to the safest place, Rock Island, first. Okay, let's go. Here Crow Knight cast teleportation, and they arrived at Rock Island instantly. In the sky of Rock Island, 7 figures appeared. It was the group of Here Crow Knight and Bark Mirror Emperor. The desolate Rock Island, said Here Crow Knight. It perfectly matches the description in our information. The 7 great beings looked around sharply. They had remained cautious since stepping into 9 remoteness space. It's safe on Rock Island, but there are no valuables, Bark Mirror Emperor said. He had been born with an unusually squeaky voice. Besides, it's a small island, and it will be dangerous if we step off it. He glanced the other great beings and added, I was ready to take my chances in 9 remoteness ocean and look for the valuables in that ocean. It is the most dangerous place in all of 9 remoteness space. You can choose whether to come with me or not. The other 5 Undying fighters were shocked. 9 remoteness ocean? Bark Mirror Emperor, are you really going to 9 remoteness ocean? Bark Mirror Emperor smirked. The other 5 were all from the Northern Territory Alliance like he was, which was why he had brought them here. However, it would be ridiculous for him to help the other 5 to search for valuables. He didn't have enough time. How about going to other islands first? One of them asked. Bark Mirror Emperor snorted, then looked at Here Crow Knight and asked, "What about you, Here Crow Knight?" Although all of these great beings were his companions, Here Crow Knight was the only one he valued. After all, he was a universe knight as well as his rival. 9 Remoteness Ocean was a place filled with real danger, and it would be much safer for him to go with someone else. The 5 Undying Heirs couldn't be blamed for not daring to go. 9 Remoteness Ocean was an endless ocean containing thousands of islands. Most of the heirs went there for valuables, whereas only a few of them had the guts to go to 9 Remoteness Ocean. Although the ocean was boundless, and there might be more valuables hidden there than on all the other islands combined, it was also more hazardous than all the other islands combined. The most dangerous thing in the 9 Remoteness Ocean was the 9 Remoteness whirlpool in the core of the ocean. Once someone was trapped in it, it would be almost impossible to survive even for a universe knight. Here Crow Knight was worried. "If you want to go to 9 Remoteness Ocean, I'll come with you. But I need to make sure of one thing. You're not going to the 9 Remoteness whirlpool, are you?" Bark Mirror Emperor shook his head. "Of course not. I'm confident, not reckless. There is danger everywhere in 9 Remoteness Ocean. I might dare to venture into other places, but I'll avoid the 9 Remoteness whirlpool at all costs." Here Crow Knight was relieved. "Fine," he said. "I'll come with you and explore 9 Remoteness Ocean." "Ha ha." Bark Mirror Emperor's squeaky voice gave him a shrill laugh. Here Crow Knight laughed along with him. The other 5 great beings looked at each other and consulted with one another telepathically. "What are we supposed to do? Here Crow Knight and Bark Mirror Emperor are both going to the 9 Remoteness Ocean. What should we do? Without them, our chance of surviving on the other islands is small. But if we followed them, we might be able to arrive at some magical places and get some treasures by luck. We're their teammates. They won't attack us. We've been trapped at this stage for an eternity. I'll take my chances. Let's go. I'll follow. 9 Remoteness Ocean is arguably the most dangerous place here. It'll be worth it even if we die there." The 5 Undying Heirs had made their decisions. "Here Crow Knight, Bark Mirror Emperor, we'll follow you." "Yeah. Any island in 9 Remoteness space is dangerous. We'd rather go with you guys. We'll all come with you." Bark Mirror Emperor and Here Crow Knight were glad to bring them along. "Let me search for any danger within the 1 billion square miles around us first," Bark Mirror Emperor said. "Please do, Bark Mirror Emperor." The other 6, including Here Crow Knight, all stepped back. Bark Mirror Emperor had the best probing skills in the universe. He stepped forward and concentrated. The intricate engravings on his scales started to glow, and his golden eyes emanated an illusion that seemed to be a reflection of the surrounding space. "Ahead of us," said Bark Mirror Emperor, looking ahead. He said calmly and confidently, "There's no danger on the island. When we cross the island, we'll arrive at 9 Remoteness Ocean. The danger within 20 million miles of Rock Island can be ignored. The deeper into the ocean, the more dangerous it is. I've already discovered a universe knight-level creature." Bark Mirror Emperor looked in another direction. He claimed to be looking. Actually, it was his talent technique known as Universe Mirror, which could inspect everything within 1 billion square miles by reflecting it in the mirror. All the danger was visible on the mirror, unless it was a universe master who could completely manipulate the time and space of an area. Otherwise, nothing could evade the universe mirror. Other great beings wouldn't even realize that they were being probed. "I've found an undying level special organism," he said. He looked to his left and was momentarily dazed. "Huh?" Then he gave a weird smile. "Bark Mirror Emperor, what did you find?" Here Crow Knight couldn't help asking after seeing him smile like that. "Ha ha. Take a guess." Bark Mirror Emperor's look was perplexing, which confused Here Crow Knight and the other 5 Undying Heirs. "It's the famous Blade River Emperor." Here Crow Knight and the 5 Undying Heirs were all stunned. "Blade River Emperor? Interesting that Blade River Emperor has the guts to come to 9 Remoteness space," said Bark Mirror Knight. "I've heard that he has a set of wings that help him fly away. It's a true treasure. I didn't have the chance to kill him on Bohinia Island, but now is a great opportunity." He stuck out his thick, red tongue and licked his fangs. "Bark Mirror Emperor, are you serious?" Here Crow Knight was shocked. "Humph," said Black Mirror Emperor. You might not dare to act, but I'm from the Northern Territory Alliance, and we're not afraid of that human alliance. You don't need to be a part of it if you don't want to, here Crow Knight. Just behave yourself and don't reveal my intentions to Blade River Emperor. Otherwise, you'll make yourself my enemy. Rest assured, I won't meddle, here Crow Knight said, nodding. Northern Territory Alliance was the alliance with the most members, and it was also one of the superpowers of the universe. It could rival the alliances of the peak races like the human race, the demon race, and the bug race. Let's go. Bark Mirror Emperor smirked and flew away slowly. He didn't dare to go too fast, as he didn't want Luo Feng to notice him. Greed filled Bark Mirror Emperor's golden eyes. It'll be worth it for me to come to 9 remoteness space if I can get those wings. I won't even need to risk going to 9 remoteness ocean after I succeed. He was a special organism and was naturally greedy and ruthless. However, instead of being ashamed of how he was, he chose to be proud of it. In the cave of the mountain, Luo Feng used the microdetector to conceal himself as he sat with his legs crossed. He had no idea that Bark Mirror Emperor had used Universe Mirror to detect him. Obviously, Bark Mirror Emperor was skilled enough not to be found by the microdetector. 1 month left, said Luo Feng. After a month, I can get the world trees, twigs and leaves and breed my 3rd body. After which, I can be an undying fighter. Luo Feng was looking forward to what was going to happen without realizing that 7 great beings had already arrived at the mountain. Stop, Bark Mirror Emperor said. Here Crow Knight and the other 5 followed. That human has a microdetector. Bark Mirror Emperor sniggered. Unfortunately, those detectors are useless. Even the top-tier detectors from the automaton race can't compare with my techniques. Seal. Bark Mirror Emperor looked at the mountain in front of him and used Space Seal. Suddenly, the space ripple in almost half the rock island stopped. Go in, he said. Bark Mirror Emperor rushed into the mountain. The other 6 followed him. Something's wrong, Luo Feng said, glancing at some of the gravel in the cave as he sent Space Seal. One of the gravels was a keepsake, and there was a second one hidden in another cave. They were used by his servants to position God Country transportation. Even if I leave temporarily, I can still transport myself here directly. Luo Feng opened his wings and flew out of the cave instantly. He felt a remarkable source of strength storming toward him the moment he rushed out of the cave and saw a great being that looked like a werewolf flying toward him. He had golden hair and golden eyes and was covered in scales, which were filled with engravings. Bark Mirror Emperor, Luo Feng said. He was startled. Dealing with one of the most famous special organisms on Bohinia Island would be a handful. Bark Mirror Emperor was proficient in tracking and hunting, and he was greedy and merciless. Luo Feng shook his wings and sped up. Ha ha, Blade River Emperor, are you really trying to flee from me? Laughed Bark Mirror Emperor. I'm known for my tracking skills, and I aced space law. Besides, I'm innately fast and have a godly body much better than yours. So, let's see who's faster, you or me. Bark Mirror Emperor sped up, chasing after Luo Feng. Bark Mirror Emperor had a mighty godly body, and his constitution was 2,000 times better than that of normal great beings. Human Emperor limits were 100,000 times stronger than Sector Lords, whereas Bark Mirror Emperor was 200,000 times stronger, which made him equal to a Universe Knight, a powerful godly body with a natural gift for speed. Bark Mirror Emperor was speeding up. Luo Feng sped up too, but was astonished to see that Bark Mirror Emperor was gaining on him. What? He said. Second form. Luo Feng had to admit that he had underestimated Bark Mirror Emperor. He didn't have time to think of anything else. Instead, he initiated the second form, and the plumes on that wings became sharp like sabers. The wings tore the surrounding space apart, resulting in significant space turbulence. His body appeared blurry within the turbulence. Bark Mirror Emperor, chasing Luo Feng, was also trapped in the space turbulence, where there were all kinds of space fragments. Each space fragment was as enormous as a planet, which slowed him down as he rampaged among the fragments. He couldn't concentrate on chasing Luo Feng anymore. However, instead of becoming upset, Bark Mirror Emperor grew joyful. True treasures are indeed impressive, he shouted. But you, as a mere human, are not qualified for such true treasures. As a special organism, only I am good enough for them. Give me the true treasures, and I'll spare your life. Bark Mirror Emperor's force surged. He was already burning his godly body. For true treasures, he was willing to burn his godly body. Besides, the Northern Territory Alliance provided him with endless resources just to attract him, and he had abundant valuables to use to recover his godly body. Bark Mirror Emperor had a godly body that was more powerful than that of an ordinary knight, and once he started to burn it, his power soared. Bark Mirror Emperor sped up again, opening a wide portal among the space turbulence and crushing all the space fragments in his way. Luo Feng sensed Bark Mirror Emperor's speed skyrocket, nearly catching up to him. I'm slower than him, Luo Feng realized. He shook his wings. He started to change directions continuously like a butterfly, pausing, darting, then zigzagging back and forth. Sometimes he rushed forward, sometimes he flew to his left, and sometimes he made a sharp turn. Generally, the faster one went, the more difficult it was to change directions. It was just like a sports car. The greater the speed, the higher the risk of rolling the vehicle while trying to navigate a turn. Bark Mirror Emperor was unprepared for this. He's quite maneuverable. Bark Mirror Emperor was following Luo Feng as his directions changed. When flying straight, Luo Feng couldn't match Bark Mirror Emperor's speed, even he performed the second form of Shawu Wing and caused space turbulence. However, Bark Mirror Emperor panicked as he attempted to quickly change direction. Seal! Bark Mirror Emperor got furious and used his undying power to suppress Luo Feng, but it was torn by Luo Feng's Shawu Wings. Bark Mirror Emperor, why are you coming after me? Luo Feng said. My wings were given to me by a universe master. Even if you take them, they will be taken back in the future. Ha ha! Don't scare me with universe masters, said Bark Mirror Emperor excitedly. The Northern Territory Alliance has universe masters, too. No wonder it's a true treasure. My constitution is way better than yours, and I'm faster than you. But I'm not as maneuverable. I can only speed up again and again to make sure you can't get away. Here Crow Knight and the other 5 undying heirs flew in the sky above the 9 remoteness ocean as they watched Bark Mirror Emperor hunt Blade River Emperor. Bark Mirror Emperor can't catch up with Blade River Emperor even after burning his godly body. Those wings really must be a true treasure. Burning his godly body can speed him up, but the faster he gets, the more difficult it is for him to change his directions, Here Crow Knight said. Bark Mirror Emperor can only guarantee that he's not left far behind. He should be attacking now. Bark Mirror Emperor couldn't catch up. After a while, a purple crystal ball showed up in front of him. The purple crystal ball flew above Luo Feng much faster than Bark Mirror Emperor under his undying power. It quickly expanded and turned into a huge purple star with a diameter of thousands of miles, and a massive hole appeared under it. A whirlpool formed in the hole, and a forceful, swallowing power dashed Luo Feng. Under its effects, Luo Feng couldn't maintain his balance. This is my sealing treasure, Bark Mirror Emperor said with a laugh. Though I can't comprehend all of space law, with this treasure and my burning godly body, my sealing skills are better than that of a universe knight. Let's see you break free of that. Luo Feng was trapped within an endless swallowing force. Usually, creatures attack their enemies first and then seal an enemy when they are severely injured and can't put up a fight anymore, Luo Feng roared in his heart. Yet you attempt to seal me first? Not possible. Shawu Wing, break it. Suddenly, the edges of his Shawu Wing sliced the surrounding space into pieces. Of the many different kinds of treasures, sealing treasures were effective for sealing, but they had weak attacking power. Unless the great being was significantly inferior to the treasure, it was impossible for a sealing treasure to swallow a great being. Shawu Wing kept slicing the space, and Luo Feng finally broke out. Huh? Bark Mirror Emperor was dazed, but then he smirked. True treasures are indeed impressive. Blade River Emperor, I didn't want to kill you in the first place, but now, you brought this upon yourself. Bark Mirror Emperor opened his mouth. Silence. Everything turned quiet in the sky and land as Bark Mirror Emperor opened his mouth incredibly wide. Here Crow Knight and the other 5 undying heirs were terrified and began murmuring to each other. If Bark Mirror Emperor howls, Blade River Emperor won't survive it. But Blade River Emperor has clone technique. Either way, this body is not going to survive it, and his true treasures will fall into the hands of Bark Mirror Emperor. Here Crow Knight had the same thought, as Bark Mirror Emperor's 2 talent techniques were distinctive in the universe. One of them was inspection, and the other was attack. He could see everything with his inspection technique, but he could crush a soul with his attacking technique. The moment Bark Mirror Emperor opened his mouth, Luo Feng felt an invisible force. Howl. Even Luo Feng was knocked unconscious by this attack's immensely powerful will. The soul roar was trying to annihilate his very soul. Meanwhile, Tower Pearl, which guarded the core of Luo Feng's soul, suddenly appeared, started to shine, and surrounded his soul. The roaring continued. In front of Luo Feng's soul, Bark Mirror Emperor's head appeared, its phantom image opening its bloody mouth and bellowing at Luo Feng. The Tower Pearl started to tremble. Luo Feng's soul shook. The willpower around his soul had been destroyed. Only his core, which was being protected by Tower Pearl, resisted the force. Howl! Tower Pearl strived to protect the soul. Luo Feng regained consciousness. How terrifying, he mumbled, startled by the realization of what had just happened. Before the Tower Pearl showed up, that attack knocked me unconscious. Apparently, I can't resist it in the slightest. If it weren't for the Tower Pearl, I would have been crushed. Even the Tower Pearl had a hard time resisting it. The more powerful the special organisms were, the more incredible their talent techniques were. Silver Eye was merely mediocre. Special organisms like Bark Mirror Emperor and Zhuchong Emperor were the real talents. Time to run. Luo Feng dove toward the Nine Remoteness Ocean, knowing he couldn't get away no matter how skillfully he changed directions. Nine Remoteness Ocean was the largest and most dangerous place in Nine Remoteness space, especially with considering the Nine Remoteness whirlpool, but Luo Feng couldn't worry about that right now. Water in the ocean was blasted away as Luo Feng traveled down into the Nine Remoteness Ocean. Impossible. Bark Mirror Emperor said, blown away by what he had just seen. He couldn't believe Blade River Emperor could resist the attack he was proudest of. His face was twitching as he dove into Nine Remoteness Ocean. In the sky above the ocean, Here Crow Knight and the other 5 undying heirs were dazed. He resisted it? He didn't die? They found it unbelievable. Here Crow Knight kept shaking his head. Bark Mirror Emperor's godly body is so powerful that he can rival Universe Knights. Now that he's burning his undying power to perform his talent technique, that attack can rival that of a Universe Overlord. How could the human, Blade River Emperor, withstand that? Here Crow Knight, said another heir, Bark Mirror Emperor has the power of a Universe Knight, and he just burned his power to use his talent technique. How could Blade River Emperor repel that power? Unless he has another true treasure used to protect his soul. A true treasure to protect his soul? The other heirs were dazed. That's right, a true treasure, Here Crow Knight said, nodding. He has a soul, and he himself can't defend against that attack. It had to be the true treasure, a true treasure used to protect his soul. Bark Mirror Emperor has 2 true treasures. The humans value Blade River Emperor so much that it's certainly possible he has 2 true treasures. 2 true treasures. Other 5 heirs couldn't believe it. This is insane, said Here Crow Knight, incredibly jealous. He was a Universe Knight, yet he didn't have even one. Bark Mirror Emperor and Zhuchong Emperor both had 2 true treasures, and so did Blade River Emperor. If I'm lucky enough to have it, I'll just hide, said Here Crow Knight. 2 treasures, one used to flee and the other used to protect my soul. Aggression flashed across Here Crow Knight's eyes. He dove toward the ocean, too. In the cold, oppressive ocean, the water emanated a heart-stopping force. Bark Mirror Emperor kept chasing Luo Feng and kept and space sealed. At the same time, he roared, human, there's no way you can escape. You could withstand my talent technique attack, which means you have a real treasure to protect your soul. It has to be. They're both mine. Mine. Bark Mirror Emperor had gone crazy. A true treasure to protect souls was much rarer and much more precious than a flying true treasure. Luo Feng kept changing his direction in Nine Remoteness Ocean and dove deeper and deeper into this deadly area. Deep in Nine Remoteness Ocean, each drop of water was as heavy as a mountain, but Luo Feng and Bark Mirror Emperor shot like missiles through the depths. Blade River Emperor, there's no way you can escape. Bark Mirror Emperor roared insanely. Ha ha. You're good at escaping and resisting soul attacks, but unless you have a Flying Palace true treasure, I refuse to believe you can defend yourself against my material strike. Die? Bark Mirror Emperor waved his paws, and a stream of terrifying undying power manifested as a blurry grey beam that shot toward Luo Feng, still trying to escape by changing his directions irregularly. Luo Feng was startled. Damn it. Although Bark Mirror Emperor followed the warrior path, releasing undying power was a rather easy way to attack. Normally, it was relatively weak, but Bark Mirror Emperor had extraordinary undying power, which he was currently burning. Even this weak tactic would be enough to kill Luo Feng if he was hit. There were many kinds of true treasures. Sky Wolf Palace and Star Tower belonged to the Flying Palace category of true treasures. When it came to avoiding a fight, such true treasures would come in handy. If Luophone were able to hide inside Skywolf Palace, enemies couldn't hurt him even if they bombed Skywolf Palace continuously. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of true treasure, thought Luophone. He maintained his high speed, and each time his Shawu wings shook, the shockwave resulted in great space turbulence. A pillar of undying power cut through the ocean. Space turbulence and erupted to Luophone's right. I've dodged it, Luophone thought, relieved. His high-speed changes of direction made him difficult to hit. Ha ha! Bark Mirror Emperor laughed. I was right. You don't have flying palace-type true treasures. Blade River Emperor, you're relying on your wings to escape and your soul true treasure to resist soul attacks. Unfortunately, you don't have a true treasure to defend yourself against a material strike. You're doomed. Let's see how many more times you can dodge it. 2 pillars of undying power were fired at Luophone. There was no law comprehension in them, on the contrary, they depended on burning, undying power that could rival Universe Knights. Madness filled Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes. I can't catch up with you, but my undying power can. He was far stronger than Luophone and chased him as if trying to swat a troublesome insect. The insect may have been agile and armed with soul true treasures, but if Bark Mirror Emperor used pure undying power to crush him, unless Luophone had a true treasure like Skywolf Palace, he would have no chance of survival. Should I summon Mosha Body back? Luophone wondered, still changing his directions irregularly. A pillar of undying power flashed beside him while the following one clipped the edge of his wing, spinning Luophone around. He was stunned but still managed to change directions again rapidly, making the best of Shawu wings. Although Mosha Body has the talent technique, domain, it only works on the body itself, it can't carry me, Luophone thought. This was the limitation of domain. It was a completely different skill than teleportation. One could teleport along with other life forms and enter a space ripple together, reaching faraway places instantly. But domain was limited to within a diameter of 6,000 miles of Mosha Body. Domain was achieved when Mosha Body merged with space, then turned back into Mosha Body. Luophone's original body couldn't do that, unless, perhaps, he entered the world ring and let it be carried by Mosha Body. However, with Bark Mirror Emperor's permeating undying power, he had no chance of getting into his world ring. Escaped again? Bark Mirror Emperor smiled smugly. I didn't expect you to dodge my attacks twice. Those wings aid you well in your escape. Let's see if you can dodge it for the 3rd time. Bark Mirror Emperor's madness intensified as he began to condense a mass of tempestuous undying power. Undying power needed to be condensed in order to be forceful. If it was dispersed among a 600 million mile area, it was feeble and could only be used for detection instead of attacking. When undying power couldn't be condensed further, it formed a godly body. Undying power into threads, roared Bark Mirror Emperor. Cage? Bark Mirror Emperor reached out his paws, and suddenly, thousands of undying power threads shot out in pursuit of Luophone. Each of the threads was as concentrated as possible, like Bark Mirror Emperor's godly body. The move had consumed 10% of Bark Mirror Emperor's godly body. Since the start of the battle, all his other moves had only cost him 1%, but this single move, producing thousands of threads, required an immense quantity of undying power. There's nowhere to run. Bark Mirror Emperor seethed. 2 true treasures awaited him after he defeated Blade River Emperor. He could even escape Universe Overlords if he had those too. In an instant, a giant whirlpool appeared before them, producing a massive, tearing current. Bark Mirror Emperor turned toward the whirlpool, astonished. What? As Bark Mirror Emperor watched, a towering red figure emerged from the whirlpool. 2 bloody horns protruded from its head. The figure leveled its gaze at Bark Mirror Emperor. Other races, growled the horned figure. How dare you roam the 9 remoteness ocean? Die? A 9 remoteness whirlpool, said Bark Mirror Emperor. And a great being, in a 9 remoteness whirlpool? He was well aware of the dangers of the 9 remoteness ocean, the deadliest of which being 9 remoteness whirlpool. But he had never expected the whirlpool to appear out of nowhere or for a great being to reside within it. He could sense the horned figure's energy. It was a universe knight. And it was superior to him. A burning, bloody light from the horned universe knight shrouded Bark Mirror Emperor. Begone! Bark Mirror Emperor cried, manipulating the threads of undying power against the bloody light. It would have been easy to kill Blade River Emperor with these threads, but the great being in front of him was his real enemy. Thousands of threads, making up of 10% of his godly body, coalesced into a spear flying toward the bloody light. The two forces crashed and exploded in the water, each dispersing in the aftermath. "You've got some skill," the Universe Knight said, a bit surprised. "Die?" Bark Mirror Emperor roared as he cast his talent technique. Silence. Silence engulfed the area around them, and a soundless shock wave ripped forward and slammed into the Universe Knight in the 9 remoteness whirlpool. But nothing happened. "Ha ha," the Universe Knight chuckled. "A soul attack is useless to me." The towering figure with its bloody horns roared and hurled himself at Bark Mirror Emperor. "You can do nothing to me," Bark Mirror Emperor scoffed. The thousands of threads had consumed 10% of his godly body, while the strike from the enemy had cost him less than 2%. Although Bark Mirror Emperor knew he was weaker than this great being, he was unafraid. "It's no wonder only 1 in 100 Universe Knights survives the 9 remoteness whirlpool," said Bark Mirror Emperor. "Is anyone who shows up here as powerful as this Universe Knight? I'll disregard him now. I can't beat him, but I'm faster than he is." Bark Mirror Emperor turned around and continued to chase after Luo Feng. The towering figure with the bloody horns raced forward in pursuit. Bark Mirror Emperor was proficient in tracking and hunting and possessed unparalleled speed when he accelerated. Luo Feng, even after casting the second form of Shawu Wing, couldn't match Bark Mirror Emperor, and neither could the Universe Knight. "I'll kill you, Blade River Emperor," roared Bark Mirror Emperor, right on Luo Feng's heels. "Then I'll escape." He waved his paws, and threads of undying began to concentrate again. "Fight!" Luo Feng had been lucky that the bloody-horned figure showed up and forced Bark Mirror Emperor to manipulate his threads to deal with the real threat. But now, Bark Mirror Emperor knew he was not the Universe Knight's match and resumed focusing on killing Luo Feng. Luo Feng had no time to think. His erratic movements had brought him back around, almost in a full circle. He shook his wings and dove directly into 9 remoteness whirlpool. 9 remoteness whirlpool possessed an incredible tearing, all-consuming current. Luo Feng was sucked inside the moment he touched it. Bark Mirror Emperor saw Blade River Emperor dive into 9 remoteness whirlpool just as he finished condensing his threads. "No," he shouted in exasperation. Bark Mirror Emperor was powerful, but even he didn't dare to go into the 9 remoteness whirlpool. As for Luo Feng, he could only resort to taking this last-ditch effort. Bark Mirror Emperor's only choice now was to flee for his life from the horned Universe Knight. "My 2 true treasures." Bark Mirror Emperor growled through clenched teeth, flying out of the ocean and up in the sky. The bloody-horned figure of the Universe Knight stepped out of the ocean and onto the rolling waves. It looked up just in time to see Bark Mirror Emperor teleport and disappear. The Universe Knight smirked. "Was it something I said?" The bloody-horned figure re-entered the ocean and swam back down, approaching the 9 remoteness whirlpool. Without hesitation, it dove into the whirlpool. This video will end here. Again, special thanks to our top supporter.